Hello and welcome to another question and answer session. Today we're going to be answering another question, and this time it's from...
the question's from Yvonne Armen. She asked, did your mother-in-law and other family members who were against your marriage ever apologise for their bad behaviour towards you?
Okay. Well, what I'd say is we never actually got a word I am sorry.
In regards from mum, you mean?
Yeah. In regards to mum, she hasn't really apologized in that way. But what I'd say is we both know that she's sorry because of the way she acts. I mean, instinctively, I think we all know when someone is actually really sorry.
She was quite, you could tell she was quite remorseful the first time we went to the house with my daughter.
Yeah.
When she was born.
So when we took Havana home and we gave her to mum, and she sat on the couch and literally she cried for about half an hour, and we just let her be while she was, crying. And after that point, she was a changed woman, isn't it?
Oh yeah. She'd go out of her way to if she came to our house.
She's so loving.
She was really loving. She would let Primrose even go in our kitchen. She'd be like, look, you sit down, I'll cook, I'll make the tea. Yeah. She'll bring the food with her.
Yeah. She literally does.
She showed
everything.
that. Yeah, she showed she was apologetic.
Yeah.
She didn't actually say, I'm sorry, forgive me. She didn't need to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's my mum, but obviously from your side you would have been angry, right, babe?
Well, from my side, for me, I don't expect Jazz's mum to actually say I'm sorry, because I'm not the type of person that makes people grovel. I accept her apology from the way that she acts. Yeah. I can see that she's sorry. The way she hugs me, I can see that she's sorry. So I don't really need an apology that. And when I see from my mum, for instance, and the childhood that I had, and even when I spoke to my mum about how difficult it was and what happened, my mum has never apologized. And for me, I know in my culture, the older generation
respect them,
do not apologize to the younger people. They just don't.
The day they physically will apologize is when they're on their deathbed, basically. Yeah. Then they might decide that they have it in their gut and they need to say it before they go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only other time, but they'll show you their apology
exactly.
through the way that they act. And in regards to mum, and I'm sure I can speak for you on this. Yeah. Mum is a loving woman. I've always said that. My mum's always been a really lovely lady, very gentle, and you can see every day she'll say to us when we go around there, sit down, what do you want to eat? She doesn't even come out of the kitchen. She's cooking and feeding us.
Even if we stay the night, she will make sure she gets up before me. She makes my breakfast.
She'll make you have a shower.
She won't even let me wash up. She'll be like, no, you go sit down. I'm like, Mum, I'm okay, I can do it. And constantly she's like, do you need this? Are you okay? And I can see the way she's with Havana and Phoenix. There is pure love there.
It's genuine.
I can feel it from my heart. There's pure love there. So I've never really expected physical I'm sorry.
I think you can learn lessons at any age. Maybe for her that was her lesson for her.
Yes.
Not in a bad way. I just mean for her within herself, maybe she's thinking she's learnt something.
Exactly.
And she doesn't like what she did.
Yeah.
There's things maybe in my life that I've done and I thought I don't really like how I acted in that situation.
Yes.
I want to never act like that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe for her she might feel like that.
Yeah.
To a point. And she shows us all the time that she for example, she'll even say to us, look, why don't you guys just come and live with us and save more money?
That's it, yeah.
Don't worry about paying the bills and stuff like that. Just come and live with us, save all your money.
Come and live with us, and
Yeah, don't worry about food.
Yeah, we'll do everything for you.
You guys just work and bank your money, and you're like, wow, that's tempting. You know what I mean?
That's a 360 degree turn.
And she's like, no, you're my kids and you can stay here.
You are my daughter and you come here and stay here whenever you want. And it's not a problem.
You don't have to phone, call and ask and check.
No, exactly.
So I think she's showing she's apologetic in her own way. And so from mum's side, she's never apologised, but I don't think she's had to.
For me, I don't expect her to actually physically say that she's sorry. Because like I say, she makes me feel extra welcome. She is so loving. She is just the perfect mother-in-law, like I said in the mother-in-law update video. And the same as my mom, I can see that she is sorry in her own way. Sometimes people can say I love you and sometimes people can say I'm sorry, because like these are the two hardest words to say, and I appreciate that. And as long as she carries on showing us love and respect, everything is good. I don't really expect like an apology like that, isn't it?
And I agree with that, and I think like I can't put words into Primrose's mouth.
No.
So what I said, I'm sure Primrose agrees with in regards to my mum.
Yeah,
and she
never says.
She doesn't need to apologise for anything, because at the end of the day, you said it to me when I used to say, "Wow, babe, are you sure? Are you like?
Yeah,
I'm really sorry that you've had to go through all this with mum at that time."
And I was like, I understand.
And you go, look, you were telling me.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine,
babe. Your mum is not from the UK. She's not grown up in a multicultural society.
Yeah.
Even when she came here, you said, like I used to tell you myself, that mum went to work, she came home, family, everyone's Indian that she's socialising with. Yeah. So for her it was a shock. And you were telling me this, and I was like, whoa, like I'm blessed that my wife is understanding completely, and this is what made me grow and love Prim even more. Because I could say, wait a minute, my wife is the most understanding person on planet Earth. Do you know what I mean?
And a lot of people, like I mentioned before, like I used to work like with quite a few Asian people, and the girls I used to work with were like, you know what? If my mother-in-law ever did anything like that, she would not see my grandkids. I would never speak to her again. And I was just like, that is not the person I am. For me, I want to see everybody happy, and if someone is genuinely sorry in the way that they act, for me that's apology enough, because I am not perfect. And I do wrong things as well,
they still are elders.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They're elders and I'm with you. That's all that matters. So Primrose has got everything.
Yeah.
And she's got me, she's got my support.
Yeah, I'm
mind, body and soul, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So with mum, it's like, wow, I'm so happy for Jazz. Yeah. That's probably what you thought.
Exactly.
Because that's how I would feel. Do you know what I mean?
It's nice for like the family to be reunited again and there's no issues. Yeah. And I can see that it makes you a lot happier when he sees his mom like treating me in an amazing way.
I'm so
it
like
makes you so much happier.
Yeah, man.
And
you know that.
And I'm sure like if she could do things all over again, she would do things differently. I know that. So for the fact that she actually says like, look, come and live with us.
Yeah, come on.
She is not ashamed at all for us to be there, because obviously if we lived with them, then family, friends and relatives are gonna come and see that we're living there with her, so there's nothing to hide. So I know like the shame that she had and any sort of like prejudice that she had are gone. She even says like, wow, Prim, you're hardworking. She is happy.
Yeah, if there's any advice you want Primrose to give it, because she knows Prim's been through a lot.
Exactly.
Just generally in life. And, and it's good because
she's very respectful. Yeah. She's very respectful towards me, and I think she appreciates that I've never really held anything against her.
And you never said a bad word.
Yeah, I've never made her feel awkward, even when we were back together again. I never like expected anything from her, and I think she respects that a lot and think like, wow, this is a good person.
And even when you met her, even if you didn't say many words, you always smiled.
Yeah, exactly.
You never had aggression in your face.
No, not at all. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and like I said, if you act nice to people, regardless of what happened in the past, you'll see they'll love you more.
Yeah.
They'll love you more. They'll respect you more.
Exactly.
Because they know that you were never irrational in the whole thing.
And as regards to like extended family and stuff like that, again the same thing. I've never really had an apology from any extended family. No. But the thing is, like, we don't really associate with any of the extended family. So
and the ones that came to the wedding, we do speak to them.
Exactly.
And they speak to us. And as I said in a previous video, I said that I even said to Prim, we need to make sure that we don't lower ourselves to that level.
Exactly.
If they speak to us, we'll talk to them with respect.
Yeah.
And what was I saying in regards to, basically, we just kill them with kindness.
Exactly. Kill them with kindness. Don't lower yourself to, like, gutter standards. Yeah. You don't need to go that low. You stay with your high morals, because and people will eventually like think, wow, you know what, we were the wrong ones. And sometimes it's actually, you win people better that way.
Yeah, and you teach them something, because later on when that happens, maybe in the family again,
in the future,
or for a friend or whatever, they can then say, look, stop how you're reacting, I did the same thing. I learnt my lesson, don't you do the same thing, because you're going to regret it later, like I did.
Yeah.
So
because if I'm aggressive and like, oh no, why are you saying this? Why you hate black people?
You're validating them.
Then they're like, you see, this is what we mean about black people.
So
this is why we don't like them. So you don't win. So this is like, you know what?
You'll never win.
I'll carry on being a nice person. I'll carry on being authentic and true to myself. I'm not aggressive. I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't expect people to be like groveling to me for apologies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just carry on being a nice person, and eventually people will.
Like there was a couple of incidents that we had with extended family. Like we had one of my uncles who was really dead against the wedding. Yeah. He even turned around and said, "Look, how can you let this happen?" Yeah. And basically, I don't agree with this at all. And obviously, at that same time, that encouraged my mum to go more rational.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was very vocal.
He was very vocal. Yeah, he said, "I'm not coming to the wedding, and I don't approve of it."
Yeah.
And he turned around and said it directly, even though he's so close to my dad. He's my dad's cousin. And I was thinking, oh my god, like this is not good, right?
Yeah.
But a few years later, once everything sorted itself out and we went round and everything sorted itself out with mum, my uncle was talking to my dad and he said, "Oh, Jazz is here." My dad goes, and they said, "All right." He goes, "Look, can I speak to him?" And I thought, "Oh man, like,
yeah,
what do I want to?"
Anyway, till your parents give you the phone, isn't it?
My dad loves that because he's really friendly. He loves like everyone just.
You want to speak to him? I'm like, no, I don't want to speak to him.
So like, I then started. I said, "Hello, uncle." Like, I spoke to him, Derby, and he was like, "How are you doing?" and stuff like that. But I could have turned around and said, "Look, I don't want to speak to you. I've got nothing. You were dead against me." But then I thought, like I said, I'm not going to lower myself to that level.
No.
And these people are coming from a different mentality, and you need to teach them something.
It's a different generation.
Good. Yeah. You need to teach them something about being good. You don't need to shout at them.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? Or say you didn't back me up, or because they're gonna you're just validating what their argument is. They're gonna think, yeah, he's a bad kid, or she's a bad woman.
And then there was like another incident of that auntie.
Yeah, and we also and that like I said, that uncle never apologised.
No.
But again, I don't expect it, and if I meet him, I'll treat him with respect because that's what I've been brought up to do.
Exactly.
And Primrose is like that as well, and that's like I said, why our love has grown. In regards to another auntie, she attended my wedding. Again, married to a cousin brother of my dad's, and she came to my wedding, and it seemed like she was forced into going. So you could see like she turned up, she looked miserable the whole time. And then even when she left the white wedding and the reception party, she before she left, she goes to me, "Oh look, don't forget your mum." And I was thinking, I'm not going to forget my mum. Why are you even saying that to me? Yeah. So I was like, look, I'm not going to forget my mum. I wanted my mum to be at the wedding. It was her choice not to come at the time, but don't worry, I love my mum. That's got nothing to do with it. I'm not going to forget my mum. And I thought, why do you need to like say that to me? Like with all this pressure, and I finally kind of enjoyed myself tonight. And it really put a bit of taste in my mouth against the lady. And then I thought my auntie, and I thought, oh, that's really bad, like to say that. You know what I mean? You look miserable the whole time.
Exactly.
Her husband was really nice to me, and he was like, "Look, man, congratulations, well done. You know, you like what you've done. Like it's hard to do what you're doing, but good luck." And then the next day, we were at the Gurdwara wedding, the Sikh temple wedding. And she was sitting at the back with one of my good friends' mother-in-law, and as she was, she goes, "Oh, hi, who are you?" And she goes, "Oh, that's my son. He's friends with the boy getting married." And she goes, "Oh, he's my nephew." And then she turned around and said to my mate's mother-in-law, she goes, "Oh yeah, couldn't your son introduce him to a nice Indian girl?"
And it's like,
at the back while I'm getting married.
Why would you say that?
All that stress, and she's bad mouthing. Then the mother-in-law naturally told my friend that this is what she said to me, because the mother-in-law was angry that it was said to her.
Exactly.
Because she feels like she's been degraded in some way, because that's how Indian people think. I can't believe that person said that to me about you. And then he come up to me and said this, and I was like, oh my god. And I thought, wow, there's no need to do that. And that's 2 days on the trot, like
she's just
a comment like that. I don't need that. And I thought, why do you even bother coming? Why even come? At the end of the day, these are the sort of people that need to apologise. Because they were basically they were like the crowd with the fire on the sticks, hounding us. You know, and
but it was like fake presents, fake smiles when in your heart,
like it.
Exactly.
And
but you saw her, isn't it, a couple of years later?
About 4 or 5 years later, I've gone to mum and dad's and after the wedding, 4 or 5 years down the line. And I went to mum and dad's, and I was sitting there, and she was there, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, Mum, you didn't tell me she was going to be there. I would have come a bit later.
Yeah.
And she was like, nah, don't worry, whatever, just sit down. So I sat down and I go, hi Annie, how are you? I'm talking to her, and she goes, oh, your kids are lovely, wow, I love their hair, they're really cute, yeah, da 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 da, and whatnot. So I was like, okay. Then I said, oh, well, so what about you? When you going to be a grandmother?
Yeah.
Because her son had got married like a couple of years before that.
Yeah.
And she just, I think when I said it, her face dropped, and she goes, oh, when? Like, what do you mean? Like, he's divorced?
Yeah.
And when she said that, I was like, what? I looked at my dad and my mum, and I was like, Mum, Dad,
what's going on?
I was thinking, what's going on? So I quickly changed the conversation, because obviously I'm not going to rub it in, whereas someone like that lady would have turned around and rubbed it so badly
and said, oh, see, I told
my family members.
Yes.
See, I told you she was bad, girl, she was going to divorce your son.
And their son got married after us, isn't it?
He got married after. He was only married a year, and he left home and he went up to London and lived with his wife, and his wife basically kicked him out after a year and said, see you later, because she was such a dominant girl, and she was an Indian girl, same everything. Yeah. Culture, caste, everything. And so in the end, it shows you that's karma. So the energies in the world, they all teach the people that talk bad about someone who's innocent. Yeah. And that's basically what I feel like happened. Yeah. And then later on when she left, I said to my mum, Dad, look, you didn't say nothing to me.
Yeah, you didn't warn me.
And my parents said, look, we didn't know you were going to say that. I go, what did I say wrong? I didn't even say anything wrong. But they weren't saying I was saying, we didn't know you were going to say that. I go, you should just told me. Like in discussions over the last few weeks. Like, and they're like, we didn't think it was important, but look at the irony behind it.
Exactly.
How that happens.
Exactly, yeah.
But she didn't apologise, and someone like her should apologise.
Yeah.
But like I said,
we leave
karma always
to God
teaches
and the universe, to do the teaching of the lessons.
So that's the apology in itself. Yeah. And I don't wish bad on anyone.
No, exactly.
I hope that they all have good lives and happy lives.
But then maybe it's just a lesson that she needed to learn, that just because somebody is married to the right caste, the right colour, the right everything, it doesn't mean that the wedding is gonna last. Yeah. Whereas like we got married, way before her son,
and we're stable,
and we're still happy, we got kids, and you know what I mean. So sometimes that's a lesson you need to, for people to learn. You don't need to. I don't need to teach the lesson to anyone.
That's it.
It's just like let time.
The universe will do it themselves.
Yeah. Let time.
With time, people will see.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean?
So yeah. So I think we've touched on different aspects of apology and stuff like that, and
so I think that answers the question for you.
Yeah, I hope so. And if it doesn't,
ask something else.
Leave a question of your own below.
We'll do another video.
And we'll address your questions as well. Like we always say, remember to share the videos on Facebook and social media, and with your friends and family who you think these videos might help. And on that note, we will see you in our next videos, and remember to subscribe.
Bye.
Bye. Hello guys. Right, this is a requested video. You guys have been asking us to do some fun videos.
I thought it was a bit silly.
And some tag videos. So, we listen to you.